Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I debated doing this podcast this morning as I was in the shower, as I was blowing my hair, as I was getting dressed. And I thought, I really want to talk about this with you guys because there's so much going on in my personal life. And I feel like I can sometimes use, these personal real life experiences as a teaching moment. So what I want to talk to you guys today about is something that I've been thinking about deeply over the past hours, minutes, days, weeks. And that is this question: what exactly happens to us when life piles on and up? Not one hard thing, not one stressful moment, but multiple emotionally significant experiences stacked on top of each other without enough time in between to fully process and recover. Because between April 1st and May 23rd, and I'm just going to say this here, I'm recording this on May 26th. So between April 1st and May 23rd, life for me personally has been a pile on. April 1st, I woke up and my dog was laying next to me. Clearly something was very wrong and she was paralyzed. 1 minute she was fine. The next day she could not walk. And we took her to one hospital and they said she wasn't paralyzed. But by the end of the night, I was like, I call bullshit on this. My intuition was strong that the hospital we took her to was wrong. We rushed her into emergency care at a different hospital. And within hours, not only were we told, yes, in fact, she was paralyzed, but that she was going to need major spinal surgery or we were going to have to put her to sleep. Guys, my dog is 3 years old and she is abundance of light. So if you have ever loved an animal deeply, you understand how disturbing and shocking and destabilizing that moment was. Thankfully, knock on wood, she is walking because they told us even with the surgery, she'd have less than a 50% chance of walking. And we still opted for that than putting her to sleep. So she is the light in this whole story. She's doing really, really well. 2 days after that, it was very clear that my stepdad was going to pass in the month of April. And on April 29th, he did pass away after a 7.5-year battle with cancer. And guys, here's the thing about grief. Grief is fucking complicated, especially when relationships are complicated. So sometimes grief is sadness. Sometimes grief is relief. Sometimes it's love. Sometimes it's unresolved pain. Sometimes it's all of those things at exactly the same time. And just 3 days later, after my stepdad passed, one of my closest friends entered the hospital for an infection and less than 2 weeks later entered hospice. And a week later, he passed away. And somewhere in the middle of all of this, I was noticing my body. I had a tightness in my chest. I felt like I had run a marathon while smoking a pack of Marlboro Reds. When I say my chest was raw and fiery and tight and heavy, I had deep fatigue. I felt like my body was literally swimming upstream in mud. I had emotional overload. I was crying at a drop of a hat. My nervous system had way too many tabs open all at once. And I found myself really sitting with all of it. And I was asking myself questions. Is this grief? Is this stress? Is this trauma? Is it burnout? And honestly, I don't think at all that it's trauma. And I think that a distinction needs to be made here because I talk about trauma all the time, but this is not trauma. And I think I really wanted to come in on talk about this today because I think trauma is so widely misunderstood. I think we've entered a cultural moment where almost everything that is painful and every painful human experience gets labeled as trauma, but not every difficult experience becomes trauma. And I think we lose something really important when we blur those lines too much. What I'm personally experiencing right now feels much more like a compounded stress, a nervous system overload, a cumulative emotional weight, and that is really different from trauma, and I want to explain why. Stress, grief, nervous system overload, and trauma are connected, but they're not the same. Stress is the nervous system responding to demand. Compounded stress is what happens when multiple demands or emotional activating experiences are just stacking one on top of the other without a breath, without enough recovery or time to process in between. Nervous system overload is when your internal system just temporarily exceeds its capacity. But trauma is different. Trauma is not simply pain. It's not simply grief. It's not simply stress. Trauma is more about what overwhelms the nervous system in a way that remains unresolved. Okay, so if we look up trauma in the dictionary, the root word for trauma is wound. So imagine having a wound that doesn't get addressed. Okay, so this is a way that it remains in the nervous system unresolved, unaddressed, and then continues to live inside the body long after the experience is over. Right now, while I absolutely feel impacted, I don't feel this is going to impact me long term. Do I feel shattered by the experience in the moment? Yes, but do I think I'm going to be shattered long term? I don't. Do I feel disconnected from myself at moments where I just feel super overwhelmed and it's just easier to disassociate? Yes. But do I feel like I'm going to be disconnected from myself long term? I don't. I don't feel fundamentally unsafe in the world. I don't feel trapped inside these experiences, but I do feel emotionally impacted. I do feel exhausted. I am grieving. I am activated, but I'm still connected to myself. And I think that distinction is so important because hard things are part of being human, guys. Grief is part of being human. Loss is part of being human. Stress is part of being human. The goal is not to avoid difficult experiences. Difficult experiences are unavoidable. The real question becomes, how do we support the nervous system through these difficult experiences so they don't become chronic overwhelm, aka trauma? That's the conversation that we need to have more often, because what I've noticed in these last 6 weeks is this: my nervous system is keeping count, not just of the experience, but of the load of the experience. It's the decision fatigue. It's anticipation. It's witnessing other people's suffering. It's witnessing my own suffering. It's loss. It's pressure. It's responsibility. It's emotionally intense. And my body is tracking all of it. And I'm tired. But eventually it's going to start asking for the things that I've been giving it, which is rest, slowing down, space, support, quiet, recovery, because I'm not going to ask for those things. My nervous system has been working overtime. And honestly, I think many people miss this. They wait until they are completely crashed out before they acknowledge that they have needs, that they need support, and that their nervous system has been overloaded for months or maybe even years. But overload doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like brain fog, irritability, that tightness in the chest that I was discussing earlier, feeling emotionally worn thin, difficulty focusing, needing more downtime, wanting to withdraw, feeling exhausted, but really unable to get rest, if that makes sense. For me personally, this season has become much less about trying to push through and much more about listening carefully to what my needs are and what my nervous system needs. More sleep, hydration, nature, walking, quiet, reducing any kind of unnecessarily stimulation, using my nervous system regulation tools, allowing grief instead of trying to run from it or suppress it. And I'm 100% not demanding any kind of peak performance from myself during this time. I have gone to clients, I have gone to guests for the podcast, I have gone to family members and said, I just can't right now. And I don't feel bad about that. That's emotional growth, guys. That's me having learned I have a need that if I don't meet it myself by asking for what I need, I'm going to burn out. And honestly, I think one of the most compassionate things that we can do for ourselves is stop expecting ourselves to function normally during abnormal circumstances, and to stop asking ourselves to function normally during abnormal levels of emotional load. I'm going to say that again because I think it is so important. Sometimes the most compassionate thing that we can do is stop expecting ourselves to function normally during abnormal levels of emotional overload. And maybe that's the lesson in all of this. And it's something I've definitely learned I would have pushed myself through 20, 30 years ago. I'm not willing to do that today. Look, not everything painful becomes a trauma, but that does not mean that the body's unaffected. The nervous system still needs care. The body still needs recovery. The mind still needs space to process. And I think awareness changes all of it. Because when you understand what your system is carrying, you stop making moral judgments about why you feel the way you feel. What does that look like? You stop calling yourself lazy. You stop calling yourself weak. You stop labeling yourself as unmotivated or broken. And instead, you start asking yourself questions like, what does my nervous system need right now? Not forever, not for the rest of my life, but right now, what do I need? And I think that question alone can completely change the way that we move through hard things and that we move through what sometimes are hard seasons in life. So that's it for me today. I have had so much on my heart that I've been wanting to share with you. This is probably one of many episodes I'll share about this, but I want to thank you for being here with me today. And as usual, I'll see you guys on the flip side.